I smoke. When I smoke, I think of the ancestors, the people that can't be with me, the nature, everything, just everything. And of course, I smoke. It's a personal thing. It's like a relationship with the self. Especially when you're smoking in private, reading or thinking, contemplating, and that process of smoking a pipe. And it doesn't even need to be a pipe, of course. That's just one of the things that's symbolic, I guess, of the smoke connecting the earth, going to heaven, going to the sky. But it's about that personal relationship, the way that smoke, the way that ceremony, that little token, the way that affects me, myself. I talk a lot about me. There's a good reason for that. The main reason is because I know me better than I know other people inside. And when we're talking about looking at the laws of nature, of man, not written laws or conceived laws, but the idea of laws of man, obviously you find them inside. Rain falls downwards, gravity, the way we feel. If I have pain, it is my pain. Or at least I have the pain. I feel the pain. It is a fact for me. But for someone else it cannot be a fact. It can only be an opinion, or they can believe in me. Now so my relationship with myself I portray on a video. The obvious outcome of that portrayal will be narcissistic, because any reflection is a narcissist reflection. Narcissism, a Greek character that stared into the water too long and fell in love with his own image and things. I don't know in great detail, but the point is as soon as you look in that water or you look in the mirror, you're getting a different image. And it's the same with putting an image onto a video camera. This is a reflection of me that is timeless. And so you have to expect a certain ego or narcissism to come through on such a medium. The medium is the message, and that what you're looking at is not a flesh and blood human being. It is a computer screen, as we know. But that factor makes it impossible for me to make the connection with you in order for me to talk on a one-to-one level with you as I to you. Every time I say the word you, it becomes a pluralism. Thou was the old term for you. Thou, thee, thyself and thy. Me, myself and I. It's a relationship with the self. As soon as we begin to say we ourselves, or you, yourself and you, it becomes a pluralism, because you is plural and singular. So when I say you could think I mean you, or you could think I mean all of you. You could exclude yourself in that way by thinking I'm talking to you all except. Now for me the most important thing is the relationship to myself, inside, not telling people. It's a secret relationship, a sacred relationship that I need to have with myself and maintain with myself. And it has nothing or little to do with the outside world initially. My relationship to myself induces moods, a mood in which I behave. And that mood determines my behaviour and determines then the outcomes of the environment in which I've affected. I get it back. If I'm angry with my environment, there's a good chance it will be angry back. So if I'm not aware that I'm coming across as intimidating or angry, then I'll be shocked why I'm getting such aggression from outside. That makes me more angry, and in turn we escalate a particular mood. If we're happy, we can do the same. It's very easy to get in an angry mood, and it also feels quite energetic and spirited and alive. It's a time where we almost feel like finally this anger is bringing us to life, bringing me to life. But maybe it's just a feeling that's required in order to see the next. So if I'm sitting in a room and I'm basing my mood off everybody else's mood, there's a good chance that we'll all end up in a low mood, unless one of us says, hey, come on everybody, look at us, look at the mood we're in, look at how it's become, look at how we're just repeating the same things and agreeing with each other again and again, rather than saying stop. We all know, we're all sick of the atmosphere, we're all sick of the situation, we're all sick of the structure that's been built that we all live by. Let's find ways of changing things. Or not even let's find ways of changing things, let's return to myself and work out what is it that I can change, regardless of whether someone agrees with that motive or that action. I think important is we do things in the name of love, out of love, so that's the game is the name. No, none of those two. The aim is love. It's not a game. It's not an aim. It's love. It's life. Life is not there to be angry, to be upset, to be serious, but maybe we need those feelings to get back to fun, happiness, love, prosperity, liberty, kindness. Sometimes we live in a false kindness, a false niceness, a politeness, a well-mannered people who are just following routines because it seems to work, and everybody's keeping the mouth shut and quiet about how that is soul-destroying, that machine. Because the machine is big and everybody's agreed to agree that life's not fair, that's just the way it is. Of course, the machine seems so big, and to reduce that entire idea to just you and yourself as a solution would seem absolutely impossible, especially when we've always taken so many cues from the world, when we've already learnt our language from the world and our customs and traditions. We've learnt everything, our ways from the world. So how can we possibly, as one individual, how can I? Nothing with we again. Let's look at I. Let me look at I. Because I'm talking to you about you as an individual. Individuality is what gives you the power, and as a collective of individuals, there is the power. But a collective of people who've agreed on something that not one of those individuals can quite grasp means that everybody's vulnerable to a control, to an intent that might be an intent of ill will. Now, if everybody's clear enough to see that one person has the qualifications to make this decision, and that other person has the qualifications to make that decision, and there's virtue and honesty, then we are competent enough to seek competence in others. We don't all, as individuals, need to be able to do everything. It's about our competence in seeing when we need help. It's to know our dependencies. After all, if you was to go to another country where you couldn't speak the language, you would need anybody, even the smallest child, to help transmit a message, convey a message, get some help or something. And it doesn't mean that there's any status difference. So when we come back to the self, we leave away all this language and society things, and it's a relationship with the self. So I say I, because it's not a we relationship when you're talking about a relationship with yourself. If you can't get on with yourself, the world around you will give you a hard time. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to play negative roles. Sometimes we have to be unliked. Sometimes we have to be disagreed with and create friction and things. But we're all human. We can all forgive, and we can all take one on the chin. You know, we can all take somebody saying that we're wrong, and whether we're wrong or right, it doesn't matter, we can let it go. So it's the battle with the self, my battle with my own self. Do I follow this person and their advice, or society and its ways? Or do I listen to this voice that's telling me something different, but I can't quite understand it? But I know for sure inside myself that in order for me to live with myself, I need to live a particular way. Now I know that's a relationship with the self, and there's an essence to that relationship. And it's a relationship to the creator of the universe, the cosmos, the higher order, the divine, God, whatever label it would be given in whichever society, in whichever context, it's in regards to a relationship between you and yourself and the world. You have a personal relationship to the government through your name and date of birth and birth certificate and nationality. It's there to protect you, but it's also there to restrict you, to educate you, to make you safe from others and others safe from you. Those types of systems become corrupted and they need saving. They need individuals to stand up and be so strong that they say, no matter what other people say, whether they're right or wrong, I have to say what I have to say in order to create a discourse, in order to break the ice. We say shouldn't use force, but if everything's turned to ice, everything's just ice, justice, it needs breaking, and the law needs breaking in order to see where the problems are. Now we all know the obvious laws, and so we follow those. Don't kill, don't steal, don't harm anybody. But the main thing is like that relationship with yourself. If you can live with yourself, it's a lot easier for others to be able to live with you, surely. So the things that I tell you are not things that you can then tell everybody else, because then it's turning an I into a we. The things that I tell you are for you to tell yourself. When I say the law is written in your heart, I mean it. I mean that the true law that can trump all of the laws, if you like, or top all of the laws, or remove the foundation from all of the laws, is the law of the heart, the law of love. Now the only place you're going to be able to read that law is inside of yourself, by experiencing the world through your senses, through and contemplating that through reason. What does that world do to me? What do the feelings do to me? How do I respond to jealousy and pride and greed and wrath of others? How do those feelings make me feel? Am I making somebody else feeling jealous or envious unnecessarily? Or can we work together to talk about these feelings, the things that hurt us, so that we can clarify that things are not the way they seem. They can never be the way they seem, because on the outside we perceive things, we look at the world. We look at the world with our eyes, we see the image of the world. When really, when you look for longer and observe how that world acts, moves, when something happens, how something happens, you realize there's more of an essence to a thing than the way it looks. You can see something that you cannot describe, something in your heart. The outside world is then beginning to reflect on you, and you're reflecting it on yourself, therefore maybe giving you a more pure image on the inside as you bounce it back and forth between yourself and you. And then you get a better understanding of the world. This is why I talk about me, myself, on the camera. I entered this video world. I'd seen a lot of people putting up videos and speaking, popular videos about alternative media, truth, independent research. But the one common trend that I noticed was the tendency for people to say they and we. Our money has been taken off us by them. The bankers, they are corrupt. And this is all very true. But when you finish listening to some underground information, some independent information, you're left with this feeling of it's a social. It takes people. It takes strength in numbers. And the more you put strength in numbers, the more you start to look at popularity as being any kind of answer, the more you move away from your individuality. Or there's at least a danger of that happening. And I can feel that in myself. And that relationship with me is in jeopardy when I think to myself, okay, listen to the populace. Listen to what everybody else is shouting about and join in and try and shout louder. Try and answer those questions. But no, the true answer to everything can only be found in the self. And so there's no use if I say we all the time on a video, we should do this, we could do that, they should do this. For sure, I'm making conclusionary statements, I'm making judgments, I'm expressing opinions, I'm prompting action maybe, but I'm always leaving it with you, who sat now maybe with a few friends or in solitude, watching this video, trying to piece your life together, to try and get some power back into your life, to be able to make better changes to society in your own free will, in your own time. That's what you want, surely. We all want to be able to take part in good work, and we're all willing to take sacrifices. And there are sacrifices necessary. But sometimes those sacrifices are as simple as you can't fly and fall at the same time. You can't be hungry and eat and be full at the same time. You can't be over there and here at the same time. And sometimes we're actually creating these types of impossible dichotomies that will never ever work. The sacrifice, I don't want to go out, but I don't want to stay in. You know, humans have that behaviour. And unless you, with yourself, realise what you want, you can see that you're fighting two wars at once. But you're never aware of the other one that you are. It seems like half of us is dedicated to the outside world, our social relationship, whereas the other half of us is connected with the divine, with the nature, with the source, with the origin, in order to create a bridge between that what was, that what will be, through that what is now. You are the is. You are what is. And that, the evidence of that you will find in what you were in the past and what you are now and what you will be. That is the continuity. And is there ever a time in your existence where you have not been there? You know that you've been to sleep, you know that you've maybe been unconscious, but you've been back again and you haven't noticed that time missing. So the spirit travels, our consciousness travels through time in an obscure manner, but we're never absent. It's just one of us or another of us. It's that relationship with the self. That is the essence that I talk about. So that you can look at that same relationship with the self. When we're talking law, on one side we're talking statute law. Statutes, acts, rules, regulations, things that help us from a child to get through society, because without those regulations we would be like castaways, but not just castaways on a natural island, but castaways in a mad crazy machine full of greed, pride, envy, jealousy, murder, false prophets. So on the one side we have the acts and the statutes that teach us, and they're not always correct. Some of the bylaws make no sense at all, but they're there in the outside world for you to reflect on the inside world, to see the falsehood, to see the truehood. on the other side, you can recognize where those them laws make no sense for you as an individual in secret. You can understand why they make sense for children or for other people, but you know you're not everybody. Everybody's individual, and therefore you cannot make a universal law out of an individual law, and you cannot force an individual to do everything what everybody else does. So you have to look at it from a sacred or a secret situation for yourself. What law have I? And how does that conflict with statute law? Because on the one side, half of us, half of you, half of me serves the world, and the other half serves the nature, God, the divine source. We all know that society has a tendency to go off the rails. So which half of you, or which half of me is trying to save the world, and which half of me is trying to save the people? Because people have to save themselves. Like I say, I'm telling you my relationship with myself so that you can understand your relationship with yourself. The moment we begin to talk about society, it's you and your relationship to society. And you see, so many people talking about the government, talking about the truth, talking about the world, talking about things that they really care about. But seldom do I hear people talk about their innermost relationship to themselves and the conflicts that are brought out of the cognitive dissonance of society, the problems that come out of the confusion and frustration of trying to accept a society that makes no sense. The war is an information war, and if we take that information in, it's on the inside, and then we're at war with ourselves as an individual, you and yourself, me and myself, and then we're having like a battle between us. It's like a four-way battle and not a two-way battle, because we forget the self. Even though in a figure of speech we know, oh, I feel happy, or how can you analyze yourself? How could you even possibly know that you have a self? Why do you have troubles with yourself? Even if you didn't have troubles with yourself, then surely nobody would have a trouble with themselves, and we'd have no problem. But the result of these problems is people having troubles with themselves, by being drawn out by popularity, by drawn out by what the masses think, drawn out by what's customary, common, traditionary, through fear of upsetting a wider audience, through fear of upsetting more than one person, you. Because you'll always be outnumbered by this world. You'll always have more people against you than you against yourself. But that if you go against yourself, that's the biggest army against yourself that you can possibly summon. The war against the self is the biggest war that's happening. When that war with the self subsides or goes into a peace, there's often a tendency to try and end the war on the outside with other people, with friends, with colleagues, and then the war begins again on the outside, and then there's a conflict again on the inside. Should I even be fighting this external war? But I have to live in this world. So yes, I have a claim right to shout. I have a claim right to get mad. I have a claim right to get angry. And if those words are in reason, it makes no difference if what you say is necessarily true or false. It lies with the beholder. And sometimes it seems it's better to say something wrong so that people say, no, you're wrong. Nice one. You're thinking for yourself. So when faced with this problem of having to say I on a camera, that's a reflection, again, of that I, it leaves me with that dilemma. And in a way, I can shout. I'm protected because this is video. I can shout on a stage to an audience, and they know it's a performance. But when you're alone with somebody else in a situation, it's doubtful whether it's interpreted as a performance, because you're subjecting that other person. Here you come to the video. You click on the video. It's you subject yourself to the video. You subject yourself to a music group or a performer or a politician. The politician doesn't come to your house unless he's canvassing. But even then, you have they it's not coming to you. And if you're going to somebody, then it's a totally different situation than talking, say, like I am to you. So this can potentially be a terrible example of how you should behave in society. And this is why my war goes on the media, because the media fills us full of ideas. The television fills us full of ideas. We learn the law from television. We learn the state of the world from television. The face of politics from television. All of our studies have been fed by the media, by television. And it will all be a reflection. So we could never even expect television to be true or portray the truth, because this is not flesh and blood that you're seeing now. I try and outline the true meaning of what I'm trying to say. I don't know, I'm just speaking. I hope you can get something out of it. I hope, I just hope. Sometimes it's just better just to say something and leave it with you and think, I don't know what I meant really to say on this video. Just the fact that I'm talking to you as an individual and not you as an audience on these videos. As a collective, as individuals. Okay? So I love you all. And have a good relationship with yourselves. It's in the essence. Thanks for watching. See you later. Cheerio.